the New York Jets are done. The only way that they can make the playoffs, as far as I'm concerned, is to win 9 of their 10 games or all 10 games remaining. I don't see that happening. I mean, this is Aaron freaking Rodgers we're talking about. That bad man. I mean, I don't know who he is. It's an imposter that's invaded MetLife Stadium or wherever the hell the New York Jets go. It ain't the Aaron Rodgers that I've known and loved for years. He just seems like a shell of himself, and don't get us started with them being bereft of leadership.
LLL. Do you believe that Aaron Rodgers can right the ship for the New York Jets?
No. I agree with Stephen A. on one point in that I think it's actually going to take, if you look at their schedule, in order to be even a wild card team at this point, I think it would take them 10 wins to get in, which would mean they have to win 7 of their next 9. And I look at the schedule and I do not see it. I don't see it. And the one issue that I take with Stephen A. and what he just said in that clip was what's happened to Aaron Rodgers. The man's like on a 25-plus game streak of not hitting 300 yards. The man hasn't played really good football since 2022. And even in the MVP seasons of late, when he does, they go to the postseason and they don't play particularly well. Since leading the Packers to that win in Super Bowl 45, he's 7-9 in playoff games. I think it was so unreasonable to think that a 40-year-old man who hadn't been healthy in a couple of years would come into a new system and just all of a sudden make this team a contender. I think it is reasonable to think that their North Star at this point is trying to end the longest playoff drought in NFL that currently exists right now. But other than that, this is a rebuild team, whether he wants to believe it or not. And I don't see them fixing this ship right now.
Well, first of all, I think that you're a bit excessive there, Elle Duncan. Let me get that out of the way first, number one. Number two, you sat up there and said he hasn't really played well since 2022. Well, 2023, he played 4 downs. He got hurt the 4th play of the game.
I'm sorry, make that 2021. Make that 2021. 2022, he was hurt. 2023, he got, so 2021.
So what I'm trying to say is this. We know the man could throw the football. We looked at Garrett Wilson. We know that he was an offensive rookie of the year and he could be a stud. And we know that Breece Hall could run with the football. So we were anticipating that the New York Jets, because their defense was so elite and because Zach Wilson was so awful, and that seemed to be the only thing holding the Jets back, that to have anybody decent would have propelled them. And especially if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, who we all knew was above decent. But you are absolutely right in terms of how he has looked thus far. There is no excuse for this. The only silver lining the New York Jets can take from this season right now, Cam, is this. 1 week at a time. 1 week at a time. You're going up against the New England Patriots, okay? And I know that we saw, Robert Kraft get Gerard Mayo, the head coach, the game ball after they won in week 1. They ain't won since. They've lost 6 straight since. They can't do much. I'm looking at guys on this roster, and I'm just like, my Lord, Drake May is your quarterback, okay, but who does he have to give the ball to? Ramondre Stevenson can ball, and we get all of that. I'm just looking at some of the names here, okay? Antonio Gibson, Hunter Henry, Keyshawn Butte, Austin Hooper, KJ Osborne. I'm like, I'm not trying to throw no shade on anybody else. I'm sure they can play, but the bottom line is we ain't seen much. We walked in the season not expecting much from the New England Patriots. So if you're the New York Jets going up against the Patriots this weekend, this should be the start of something new. If this ain't it, nothing will be.
I'm waiting to see discount double check Rodgers. If we see that man starting with this week versus the Patriots, this is a must win for the New York Jets. One thing we do know about this league is all about getting hot at the right time. Understanding that their division is led by the Buffalo Bills, which they still have an opportunity to right their ship there too, okay? They have them coming up in upcoming schedule. They're behind the Miami Dolphins. So if I'm looking at their schedule and I'm seeing to myself, okay, they play the Patriots next. They play the Jets. They play the Texans after that. You still have to play the game, Stephen A. You still have to play the game, L. You still have to play the game, Molly. And when you have a confident double-check Rodgers, there's not a better quarterback in the NFL. When he has the cohesion and the chemistry that he utmost needs for his team, he has the pieces in place. And I think that's the most frustrating thing when I look at the New York Jets. It's not that he hasn't had the supporting cast. It's all about putting the puzzles in the right place. And if anybody can do that, Aaron Rodgers can. So I'm
but-
not necessarily saying, oh man, let's just burn the boats and give up. No, we're not in this situation, given the circumstances of their division. Go ahead.
My mom used to always have this saying, Cam. She used to say, if and buts were candies and nuts, oh, what a wonderful Christmas. If. There has been no glimmer of hope to show that they're going to turn this thing around. Like, where has been the glimmer of hope? I sat on this desk when the Bengals started out the season 0-3, and I said that their season wasn't over simply because they were still losing games by like 30 to 35. There was a glimmer of hope. Their defense was bad. It's getting a little bit better, but they had that one thing. They had Joe Burrow. They had something they could hold, they could hang their hat on. We haven't seen that with the Jets. They had a coaching change. They thought bringing Devontae in was going to mean something, and it just happened. And you're right. Will they beat the Patriots? I expect that they will beat the Patriots. But then they have the Texans, the Cardinals, the Colts. That's not necessarily a gimme. They've got the
That's
Seahawks.
the glimmer of hope.
They've got the Seahawks.
That's the glimmer
They've
of
got
hope.
the Dolphins twice, which looks a lot different
That's
with Tua
the
back in the fold.
glimmer
They've got
of hope.
out of all I just read, you see them winning 7 of those games. You see 7 wins there. That's what it's going to take in order to get them into the postseason.
Go ahead,
That's
Cam, respond.
You see 7 wins
of
there?
hope.
Let him respond, Al.
That's
Let him
the
respond.
glimmer of hope. That's the glimmer of
What?
hope. The schedule. It's not like they're about to go against any team. They're not playing the Chiefs. They're not playing the Ravens. They're not playing the Lions. They're not playing teams that you just look on the schedule and say, maybe the Texans. Maybe. But all those other teams I'm looking
The
at,
Seahawks
the
are winning
Cardinals,
their division. You don't think the Cardinals can beat the
you
Jets?
still have to play the game though, Elle. That's all I'm saying. That's the glimmer of hope. When I look at their schedule and I'm seeing the Patriots, can they beat them? They supposed to. Texans,
course.
you still have to play the game. The Cardinals, the Colts, you get a bye, you get healthy, and then you come back and play a Seattle Seahawks team. Then you play the Dolphins. Then you play the Jaguars. Then you play That's the glimmer of hope. They're not playing just studs.
Well, let me respond in this way, Cam. Keep that schedule up for a second right there. So you got the Texans, right? You got the Seahawks. You got the Rams. You got the Bills. All of those are losable games. We are at a point with the New York Jets where they can't afford more than 6 losses on the season.
Period.
I think when we look at the AFC, they can't afford more than 6 losses on the season, Cam. They already got 5. I'm looking at it as you got to go 9-1. Got to go 9-1. That's how I'm looking at it, Cam.
All I'm saying is we've seen Aaron Rodgers make sugar out of, we already know.
A few years ago.
So at the end of the day, when I'm looking at their schedule, every player in the locker room is looking at this. All these next upcoming games are winnable. It's not like, oh man, we're playing the Ravens. Oh man, we playing
Cam,
the Chiefs.
can I ask you this? Cam, I just want to ask because we have obviously you and a quarterback, so a unique perspective. How significant of a step back do you think that Aaron Rodgers has taken?
Oh, I mean, it's evident. But when you look at what he's still able to do, the ball is still popping off his hands. He's still in a position where it may be a lot of trust issues there. When I'm looking at what Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay, we haven't necessarily seen a glimmer of that in New York. Now, one thing we have seen, Molly, is this. We've seen things look bad in New York.
Yep.
But if things ever look good, I'm talking about the hype from Hard Knocks and all that and the preseason and all that. If that hype ever comes back when he's discount double checking, what does that look like?
Do you believe he can? Do you believe he can?
Yes.
That discount double check can return?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm correct totally here because I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I believe, and we can have our researchers look at this, that the Jets are second in off-target throws. Some of that is just like a lack of timing and chemistry with his receivers. Some of that is on Aaron Rodgers. And I think that the Jets' whole plan here was we just need Aaron Rodgers to do a little bit of game managing here, and we'll lean on our really good Jets defense, and the defense hasn't been very good. So now they don't even have that, and now they have to put the whole thing on Aaron Rodgers. And apart from 2021, I just don't know what we've seen recently that tells us that he can just put the team on the back.
That discount double check
we haven't seen that guy in a few years. I'm just wondering.
Cam, you want us to give him to the bye week. That's basically what you're telling us. Give it to the bye week.
No, I'm just saying. Stephen A. said it best. It's a week-by-week thing. We go into and we play the New England Patriots. We win. Okay, cool. We get prepared for the Texans. We win. Okay, cool. We go and play the Cardinals. We win. Now we're getting a little momentum. That's all I'm saying, Elle. You can smile and you can do all you want.
And Cam, all I'm saying is, yeah, if you go on a 3-game winning streak, maybe people would. But I don't see what you're seeing on the field that tells you that they will. That's all. I'm saying the evidence tells us
Aaron
that they're
Rodgers,
not.
The same way. I'm sorry to cut you off, Elle,
No,
but I
it's all
have to
good.
say this because it's a lot of favoritism that's been going on. And I will be the first person to tell you, I would have loved to see the favor and the grace that Aaron Rodgers has been able to have and all the excuses that he's been able to have in this point of his career. But I will say this, if you're going to sit up here and hang your hat on the potentials of what Patrick Mahomes could be, the potentials of what certain quarterbacks could be, and not even think about what the potentials of a good Aaron Rodgers could be, oh, come on.
We're not comparing this
saying.
iteration of Aaron Rodgers to a Patrick Mahomes who's coming off 2 straight Super Bowls. Like, you give him the benefit of the doubt because he has proven recently that he can take a mid-team and win a Super Bowl with them. I'm asking you, when's the last time Aaron Rodgers proved he could take a mid-team, not a great team, with not a very good defense, and actually have playoff success? I'll wait for the year.
Green,
what year was that?
Well, I mean, if you want me to say it by the year, I can't say that because he only played 3 snaps last year.
No,
We've seen
I can tell you when the last time he was.
Jet.
I can tell you when he was in the postseason with the Packers the year before he ended up leaving. They won 13 games that year. They were the #1 team. They had home field advantage, and they ended up losing because he didn't throw a touchdown pass in that game. So that was the last time
the
he was in the postseason.
Was that the relaxed year?
That was. He said
That
it
was the
last
relaxed
million
year.
times.
That was
Maybe.
well. Listen, it
feel like
don't matter. At the
he
end,
pulled
at
it
the
out
end of the
every
day, at the end of the day, it's been a while since we've seen Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers. He needs to be Aaron Rodgers in order to pull this off. I can't see the Jets winning 9 of their next 10 games. But if they did, I would be very, very, very happy about it. And oh, by the way, they're in the division where the Buffalo Bills just acquired Amari Cooper to join with Josh Allen. Can't ignore that.
But
either.
you're talking. But lastly, though, that's
word here, yeah.
controlling things. That's controlling things for them. In the NFL, there's still the wild card game, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
And there's still things that
Absolutely.
other things that can happen. So you're sitting
Right.
up here saying, what would it take for them to control their own destiny? Of
Well,
course,
you lost.
winning out.
Hold on. Last point. Wild card. Let's take this into consideration. You already lost to Denver, and you already lost to Pittsburgh. Let's not ignore that. You going to so tiebreaker will go to them. Let's not ignore that either.